Hello, welcome back to section 3 of the course. This is the section where we find out how to change from pain to pleasure. It's probably the section you've been waiting for because it's where it becomes really practical. We're in a situation that's painful and we want it to change. And the first way we try to do that is change your circumstances. The second way is changing our thoughts. And the third way is changing our painful inner choice on the level of mind, on the level of spirit. So let's start off with the first way, changing your circumstances. And in this way, we're not going to look at changing our jobs, changing the amount of money in our bank account, changing how our body looks, changing our car, our house to feel better. We're going to concentrate really on changing other people. And you might say, well, that's impossible, but we try and do it quite a lot. It's a common way of changing how we feel. So changing people. We want to change people because other people's actions cause us pain. And what we're wanting, if you follow the arrow down, is we want them to behave differently. We want different actions so that our pain is stopped. And we're looking at 3 options how we commonly do that. I'm sure there's plenty of other options, but we're just looking at 3 different options as to how we commonly try and change people so that we feel better. And the first option I'm calling win-lose. This is where you assert yourself or manipulate others using guilt and fear. Fear works really well to manipulate people, especially when you're a parent or a teacher or possibly a boss at work. But it's probably not the way you're going to manipulate your friend or your partner. You're more likely to use guilt in that situation. So let's look at a few ways that we use guilt or fear to manipulate people. Feeling uncomfortable around my husband on an evening when he's been drinking is a great opportunity to use guilt to manipulate the other person to change, because clearly, they're behaving badly and you're the innocent victim. So what you're saying there is, you've hurt me. I'd like you to see how much you've hurt me, feel really guilty about that, and then change your behavior to stop hurting me. I basically win in that situation because I get to see myself as the innocent one. You're definitely the guilty one. You change your behavior and I'm the one that wins. So that works really well with partners and possibly friends, until we get to a certain stage in our life. Really, we come across people who are immune to changing in that way, and they're our saviors because we really realize that it's a game that we've been playing for far too long. It's a game that ends up being painful for us, and it's something that we need to basically grow up from. So the second option is win-win. And that sounds wonderful, doesn't it? I win, you win. We negotiate a mutually acceptable or reciprocal outcome. One example of this is if I'm feeling hurt and betrayed over the will of my father, which was done by my sister and brother behind my back, that's a really good situation where we can negotiate so that everyone wins. But do they? If I really get my brother and sister to say, apologize, in some way they give me the same amount of money or assets from the will that they're getting so that it's shared out equally, behind it all is an accusation of guilt, and the guilt rests on them. And they basically change to feel less guilty. And we're calling it a win-win because I'm happy and seemingly they're happy, and it seems to be a fair, reciprocal, mutually acceptable outcome. So the third option sounds less attractive. We've got a lose-lose situation where everyone settles for less than they wanted. I feel rejected by my family. Compromise seems to be the only option. You're never going to be accepted by your family no matter what you do. And I guess they're never going to change, so that they don't really care what you do. They're still going to care what you do. There's always going to be a compromise situation where none of you really get to connect on the level where you see each other for who you really are. So compromise means I don't quite get what I want, and you don't get what you want either, and we just accept that's the way it's going to be. Winning is losing. Even if you win, you'll feel deep down that you've lost, because you have used someone else in a way that hurts you. You've basically seen someone else as a way of making you feel better, a way of meeting your needs, a way of getting what you want. You're not really seeing them for who they really are. You're not really seeing them for what's happening to them in that moment. You're not connecting to them and who they really are. And that hurts you, because once you disconnect from others, you're disconnecting from yourself. When you attack others to get what you want, you're basically attacking yourself. And the second way here tells you a little bit how you're attacking yourself. You've not really solved your inner problem of lack, so you can't really enjoy winning. So the way we attack ourselves is that we see ourselves as needy and lacking. There's something missing. There's an emptiness inside. That's why I need you to change your behavior in some way so that I feel better. And so the whole thing is based on my identity of not being fulfilled. And in that situation, no matter what you do, no matter what change is happening out there in people or in circumstances, I'm never going to feel satisfied, because I'm starting off with a default position of lacking something, of being empty, of missing something inside. And that's never going to be filled up with anything external. No matter how you behave in the relationship, you're never going to make me truly happy if I'm lacking and needy inside.